talk about a couple of issues that have cropped up recently in the press, and it is not mean-spirited and it is not negative campaigning to talk about someone's record, their plans, their associations, or recent comments that they've made. So let's get right into it. First, did you hear that Senator Biden said at a fundraiser on Sunday he guaranteed that if Barack Obama is elected that we will face an international crisis within the first 6 months of their administration? He told his Democrat donors to mark his words, it will happen, that there were at least 4 or 5 scenarios that would place our country at risk in an Obama administration. I guess we got to say, well, thanks for the warning, Joe. Though he didn't specify what those 4 or 5 scenarios will be, but for clues, just have to go to the Obama foreign policy agenda to find out what maybe this would be. First, our opponent wants to sit down with the world's worst dictators with no preconditions. He proposing to meet with a regime in Tehran that vows to wipe Israel off the earth. Now, let's call that crisis scenario number 1. Okay. Now, Senator Obama, too, having advocated sending our U.S. military into Pakistan without the approval of the Pakistani government, invading the sovereign territory of a troubled partner in the war against terrorism, we got to call that scenario number 2. Okay. Then he opposed the surge strategy that has finally brought victory in Iraq within sight. Our opponent has voted to cut off funding for our troops, leaving our young men and women at grave risk in the war zone. He wants to pull out, leaving some 25 million Iraqis then at the mercy of an Iranian-supported Shiite extremist group and al-Qaeda in Iraq. By his own admission, this could mean our troops would have to go back to Iraq. That's crisis scenario number 3. And then after the Russian army invaded the nation of Georgia, Senator Obama's reaction was one of indecision and moral equivalence, the kind of response that would only encourage Russia's Putin to invade Ukraine next. That's crisis scenario number 4. But I guess the looming crisis that most worries the Obama campaign right now is Joe Biden's next speaking engagement.